What is up, everybody? Andrew Cooper here. Coop's Fantasy Football Fiasco is back. Our in-season Friday show, breaking down the slate, doing a little FFPC lineup, and obviously for the first one, got to bring in my boy. Got to bring in the Theo Gremminger. We were able to drag him out of the gym. What was it at the gym today, Theo?
It was leg day. It was leg day.
Leg
I had this well planned out. I just you know how it is, Coop. This time of year, it's like your mornings sometimes are not as smooth as you thought. So like for me, like Friday, either Friday morning or Thursday evening, I turn in like one of my big articles of the week. It just went overboard, and I had to wake up early, had to get it done. So everything was sort of pushed back a little this morning. So yeah, but here I'm here, and I was here 10 minutes before we actually pressed record.
I had moved leg day to the beginning of the week because I got a wedding tomorrow. These legs need to be ready to go.
So now is it a local wedding?
It's local enough that I'm taking a Uber.
Then that's great. I will say that you've got college football people out there who don't go to weddings in the fall, and they think it's absolutely like repugnant behavior that they would schedule a wedding in the fall. I know some people that are like hardcore Florida State fans, hardcore Michigan fans, hardcore Alabama fans, hardcore Georgia fans. It's like, it's so, Coop, it's a good thing that you're NFL centric and not college football centric, right? Or would have been a real decision.
We don't really have, like, we're in New England, dude. People don't care about college football up here. Yeah. It's unfortunate. If you went to one of those schools, then you bring it back with you. The thing is that if I had to travel for this wedding and stay overnight, I wouldn't have gone because I got to work. I have to work tomorrow morning. We got shows, multiple. So if you got start sits, tomorrow we'll be hitting on all those. Today, though, we're going through and we're hitting on the whole lineup and we're pulling out the best names for an FFPC contest. For those who've never played over there, it's my favorite weekly contest. You can put in anyone you want, no salaries, no drafts, none of that. The only rule is you can't have two guys from the same team. So what we do is we go through the lineup. It's a great springboard for going through the lineup and just hitting on all the games and saying, okay, here are the absolute star plays that we'll consider. Too many shows out there, and I love talking deep sleepers, but like too many shows aren't hitting the meat and potatoes for these games, like who you should be starting, who you should sit from the studs because they have a bad matchup. So we get a lot of games. Let's get right into it right now, brother. Let's start with what I did for us here is I pulled up all the games. I got the spreads, the implied point totals, super secret formula to figure that out. Only, I don't like to share it, but you can see the numbers right there. And then we'll pull any players that we think we would consider from these teams. So let's start with the Rams Titans. Not a high implied point total for the Titans, but we're going to have a Ram, I believe, right, Theo?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to try to squeeze in a Ram. This is an interesting one. Tennessee hung with Denver last week. I don't hate Kyren Williams this week because I feel like he's going to be very low ownership. I think a lot of people are going to try to squeeze in Puka Nacua, and I know there's a lot of like projections. I know like our projections guy, Chris Wecht at Fantasy Points is really, really good. He's got Kyren as sort of a low-end RB1, which I think a lot of sites have. So it's not a guy you necessarily want to cram in DFS, not a guy you really want to cram in, into a contest like this. But I think he's one I would consider to sort of hedge against the Puka Nacua people.
Yeah, now it's Puka over Adams for you?
Yeah, I think it's Puka over Adams. I mean, Puka is just it's unbelievable. We saw the slot usage tick up, significantly. I think Puka, as long as he stays healthy, I mean, he's a wild man, Coop. I mean, this guy plays for everything.
He is crazy, dude. Yeah, when you see that across the line, dude, it definitely. I mean, it gets your teammates fired up. We heard it last year with Josh Downs was talking about Michael Pittman, and he was like, "I'll tell you, Josh Downs was like, Michael Pittman played through a broken back last year." And throughout the year, there were a number of times that people, including myself, probably would not have played with the injuries we had. He had like a toe thing going on, and he was like, how am I going to turn to Pitt and say, hey, I'm not playing this week when he's playing with a broken back? So like Jarvis Landry says, injuries are contagious on both sides. A guy like Puka Nacua just getting right back out there with stitches in his eyeball, like boss, animal.
And I'll give you your props because you're not going to give yourself props on your own show, but I had you on a number of podcasts this summer. And you came on School of Scott with Scott Barrett and I. You came on Fantasy Football Daily with me. I think you came on Dynasty Life with me, and I came on your shows as well. But you were all over Michael Pittman as a value. Great start for your Michael Pittman call. You're very good with these red hot starts. Last year you had Alvin Kamara. This year Michael Pittman, an absolute layup. People are drafting him behind Josh Downs a lot of the summer. That offense looks rejuvenated. Looks like you might get like a wide receiver 2 out of a wide receiver 4 or 5 price tag.
I was gonna send a victory lap tweet this week, but then I realized he's gonna get vaporized.
This week won't be kind for him. This week,
I mean, wait till like week 4. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
If I send the tweet now, then when he gets vaporized by Patrick Surtain, everybody's gonna be like, "Dude, you're stupid." You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying not to start him this week.
Surtain killed Calvin Ridley last week.
For sure. Titan side, anyone to consider in something like this? I don't even think Ridley's going to have a bounce back week, Pollard, but I don't know if we're going to find a spot.
I don't think we'll find a spot for a Titan. I think if we were going to cram one in, I think the volume for Tony Pollard is interesting.
Yeah.
Ridley is probably a bounce back. I know Scott Barrett is talking about playing Calvin Ridley in DFS this week, where he'll be low owned and he has potential, the home environment and all that. But I would tend to stay away from Tennessee here.
Let's put him on there out of respect to Scott, and we'll move on to the Bills and Jets here. So Bills favored big time against the Jets, but as you can see, not every one of these is created equally, right? This is why we pull the implied lines here, because it's like, 5.5 point spread with the low over under makes the Titans a team that's probably not going to score a lot of points. This line suggests the Jets will punch back a little bit, but it's got the Bills favored. If you're going to use a Bill, we got to put Josh Allen's name up there as a consideration.
I think Allen's absolutely in consideration. I think you could roll out with Keon Coleman. I think that they went to Keon Coleman in key spots. He had 8 targets last week. I think he's interesting. James Cook, we had the injury scare. Now he's going to play. There's any particular week he can go out for 2 touchdowns. I think the Jets are really fun though, Coop, because I think they'll cover the 6.5. They were a live dog last week. I really like what I saw out of Tanner Engstrand. I like what I saw out of Justin Fields. I like what I said of Breece Hall, and then Garrett Wilson. All of those guys were just kind of hitting. Braylon Allen had the one nice run too. I think that they kind of get it. And also that was an emotional come from behind victory for Buffalo. It doesn't always work out where things are perfect when you put that much energy in the fourth quarter to come back against a team like Baltimore. So I think the Jets are a live dog in like the betting markets. And I'd like to try to squeeze a Jet into our lineup.
Hall? I mean, I don't know if I want to go Fields. There's too many good quarterbacks.
I think Breece Hall is an interesting one because I think he's going to catch a number of passes. We also saw Derrick Henry just run wild last week, just absolutely crazy. So I think Breece Hall is an interesting one. You could cram in Garrett Wilson. If you had to twist my arm, I think Garrett Wilson had like a 48%.
We're gonna have too many wide receivers to get Wilson.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's concentrate on Hall.
Okay, Hall. If we're gonna get him in there, we'll go Hall. Next game here because we got a lot of games on this slate, man. We got a lot of games on the slate. So let's focus on the very top. I mean, Wilson was really good last week. So, I mean,
Wilson was tremendous.
Not crazy. Okay, Browns, Ravens, no Brown. This is tight end premium, folks.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. I know you guys very excited over there about Harold Fannin. I am too. I definitely want to have him on a lot of benches this week so I can see what he looks like going out there, but probably not going to start him in a lot of lineups. I'm personally probably going to pass across the board on Browns.
Yeah, I think they're 11.5 point dogs, and Baltimore's coming off of a loss. I think Baltimore is going to try to put it on them. And I worry that the game flow could just be tough too. I think like Ravens defense might be the best defense on the board. So I think we go with the Ravens defense would be interesting one because I think but I think we're going to want to cram in the big dog. I think the big dog or Lamar Jackson. And I think Zay Flowers is interesting because he dominated the target share last week.
Truly did.
So I think that might be a shift philosophically. I know there's some people who disagreed with this. They thought it was like an aberration, but Mark Andrews, him only seeing that level of usage coming out the gate was a little troubling for me.
Not enough to do here. Not enough to do here because it's tight end premium, which isn't the best format for Andrews. Andrews is a touchdown dependent guy. And again, they only threw 19 times. Matt Milano is a tough assignment for tight ends, so I expect Andrews to bounce back a little bit here. But if he doesn't this week, then if he doesn't do anything against the Browns, we're in big trouble. So keep that in mind. Next one here, 49ers Saints, 40.5 point over under, and this is going to be Spencer Rattler against Mac Jones, which is going to be a little weird. But Ricky Pearsall is kind of the only show in town, huh?
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey pretty easy for San Francisco, and I think they're going to lean into Juwan Johnson. I know you continually, Coop, in the preseason always identify these tight end sleepers. I think we might have found one with Juwan Johnson where They were hyper using him, and all the other tight ends are hurt for New Orleans. I think Juwan Johnson in a flex spot could be interesting.
Could be.
Olave had a ton of targets last week, spent a lot of time in the medical tent. Alvin Kamara troubling about the targets coming out of the gate, where that sort of hurts him a lot. I know he scored as a runner, but I would, if we want to cram a Saint in, I think Juwan Johnson, I think the Saints are a live dog.
Yeah, the body language for Alvin Kamara is often bad, but he was extra bad this week. Like some of these plays, he was going out there as if he knew he wasn't even an option. Like he wasn't even going to be considered. Like it's
weird time.
Kamara, he does that all the time, dude. But it's tough to see. But yeah, and Olave, he actually came out and said he's like, look, they kind of told me that like if it's even close, I'm going to be in the tent a lot because my injury history. He's like, I'm fine. But don't be surprised if that happens, like whenever I take any sort of questionable hit. So I wasn't. So he basically told us like he's gonna be in the tent a lot. Next one here: Patriots Dolphins, close one. Dolphins favored for some reason here. They looked like dog water, but the Patriots also lost to a very winnable game against the Raiders. So I guess anyone could win this game.
Yeah, I mean the betting markets are way more into Miami than the fantasy football community is, and the New England Patriots got rolled at home last week by Vegas in a game that I think a lot of Patriots fans expected to win or at least be really competitive. So
I had that penciled in as a win, buddy.
Everybody
It'll
did.
be tough for us to go undefeated now.
I think Miami's really interesting to play in DFS, especially in tournaments this week, because people are going to be completely ignoring them. Devon Achane. I think Devon Achane, it's an absolutely one I'd love to get into the lineup. He'd be probably the Miami Dolphin I'd want to use the most. As for New England, I have a feeling it's the Travion Henderson breakout game because you have to self-scout, Coop. You have to look at it, and we struggled to score against Las Vegas. We didn't use Travion. They've paid him like some coach speak this past week. So I wouldn't be afraid of using Travion Henderson. I think both backs are interesting in this game.
We're not going to use Henderson, but I'm rooting for him to get the ball more. I went back and watched that. I watch all the games again, but this one, I mean, the blocking was atrocious.
Terrible.
The only play that went the only reasonable run play was like a gadget play that they ran on 3rd and 1 out of like the wishbone, and Henderson took it for like 14 yards. But I mean, like Ramondre, this is how bad the blocking was. Ramondre had 15 rushing yards on the day with 17 yards after contact. He was just getting crushed. I mean, he didn't look good either, but he was getting crushed by the line. So I don't know. I want to see it once with Henderson before we put him in something like this. Because
can we throw my guy Kayshon Boutte in the wide receiver spot just out of respect?
Yeah. You know how that game goes. We always allow for guys to be in there just to make sure they're respected. Yeah. I mean, I went back and watched all his routes after I watched the full game. Then I watched all his routes, but he was really crafty against zone. He did the second catch of the game, definitely got away with a bit of a push-off. Hey, but getting away with push-offs is what makes some of these guys so good in the red zone. I mean, a guy like Jordy Nelson was pushing off all the time. Jerry Rice is pushing off. Hey, Michael Jordan pushed off on that game winner against Utah. It's like if you can be crafty with that hand checking or whatever you want to call it, then hey, it's a skill. Next one here, Seahawks Steelers. Looks like we're going to be down in the mud. The Yinzer mud in Pittsburgh, 40.5 point over under is not a high over under. Seahawks running backs are really tough right now.
It's JSN. JSN's the one. I mean, JSN is, I think, on a collision course with maybe a top 6 scoring year at the position. I think he was mispriced in a lot of people in ADP. And we saw last week just how involved he was. I think this game actually could be a little more fantasy friendly than we saw for last week with Seattle. Seattle, it looked like they were trying to take the air out of the ball at times, and they thought they had the win against San Francisco, et cetera. So tough one in Pittsburgh. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very low scoring game and it goes under that 40.5. But I think it's JSN.
Yeah, I think it's got to be, man. 13 targets. Can't argue with it. Does Aaron Rodgers throw 4 touchdowns again this week, or is it going to be 5?
I think he throws 2 touchdown passes, Coop. I think that he's pretty locked in. I mean, Rodgers made some really, really tough throws against the Jets and was come from behind. So, I mean, we'll pile on Rodgers when we can, but he needs to get a little bit of props for getting that win last week.
Yeah, big win, dude. Important one. He even came out and said, hey, you know what? I wanted to beat their asses.
And what was that? Where was the revenge? New York kind of bent over backwards for him, and it didn't see, and they brought in his offense. I mean, they brought in guys on offense that he liked they kind of did what it was Devontae Adams trade was for him.
Yeah. He's
Where's
crazy,
the
dude.
beef?
They
It seemed like
they gave Alan Lazard so much money, dude.
it makes no. It's a weird stray that
Weird thing
that
to
Rodgers
do.
was throwing out. It was like a revenge game, but I'm
He's a
like,
weird guy,
what's the
man.
revenge at? The guy who like loaned you his beach house?
That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
is a weird guy, dude. You're
Yeah.
right. It's like trashing an Airbnb and then being mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah. Got my revenge on that homeowner.
yeah, there you go. Here's a
Sharp.
tough question for you. We got a question in the chat. Sharps or Pittman? Sharps?
Sharps, 100% because of,
Pittman's got a bad
it's going to be Sertan Island for your guy Pittman.
Sertan is the worst when it comes to that because he will just tackle you. Some of these guys, Joey Porter does it too, where it's like if he's getting beat, he first of all good coverage, but then if he is getting beat, then he'll just take the pass interference. Like and that's horrible for fantasy. It's awful. That's what Sertan does. So we're gonna go Sharps here. All right. Any Steelers in consideration? No, right?
I mean, it was
Defense,
weird.
maybe?
Yeah, Steelers defense, I think,
or
could be there.
Boswell.
Chris Boswell. Yeah, Boswell in a low scoring game. Boswell at home. I think you just picked your kicker, Coop. It's the only kicker we've said.
I kind of like that, dude. I kind of like that. Because Boz is a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, right? They love that guy. Okay, next one here. Bears at Lions. Vegas, they are not fazed by last week. They think that last week was an aberration for this Lions team. Maybe the Packers looked really good last time. Maybe the Packers are just really good. They think the Lions win this game. They think the Lions are going to put up some points on the board. So we're going to have a Lion in here for sure. Let's start there.
Give me Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Gibbs played 65% of the snaps, and people can say it was because of the game flow early on. David Montgomery saw snaps, but we don't necessarily know that. And also, they checked down to him a ton. So I think Gibbs last week, an aberration. We all saw like Green Bay's defense is ridiculous right now, especially against the run. I think this could be a huge bounce back game. If you want to go Sam Laporta, though, Laporta's interesting because I think he looked good last week.
Great.
And the tight end position is not nearly as fun because we don't know what's going on with Brock Bowers. We could get late bad injury news with him, and we're down George Kittle. So I think we throw those two names on there unless you want to push in a wide receiver.
No, I don't. But I will say this: the Bears, they did a pretty good job containing TJ Hawkinson last week, and they played a lot of man to man. Both these teams actually played a lot of man to man, and that can be bad at times for the tight ends. You know what I mean? Like tight ends, they make a lot of their bones on the zone and kind of over the middle. There are some that are very good versus man-to-man. Hunter Henry, I love seeing when he goes up against man-to-man. But Bears, we're going to have to monitor it. But so early in the season, it's so hard to figure out these tight end matchups. Unless teams like, obviously, like the Bills have Matt Milano. Like some of these guys have individual players, Derwin James. But like we're going to see who the tough matchups are or not. Bears could be a tough tight end matchup this year. So keep an eye on that. On the Bears side, anybody?
No, I don't want to play any Chicago Bear this week. They're also 6-point dogs, 20-point implied total. I think we can maybe throw a dart at a wide receiver here. Maybe DeAndre Swift catches a few extra passes, but I'd rather stay away completely.
They were looking his way on those passes. Caleb Williams every once in a while just throws junk, man. He's got such a strong arm. He's got to learn how to take a little off it sometimes.
I liked seeing Williams tuck it and run.
Yeah,
like the scrambles. I think that's going to provide a fantasy floor. But that was a really tough one. Really tough one.
I love that Williams is always keeping his eyes downfield too.
Yeah,
because that's something that Patrick Mahomes is really good at. Is that Mahomes can run. If Mahomes wanted to, he gets out of the pocket and he has so many opportunities to run, but he wants to throw it. He wants to make the big plays, and too many of these guys don't do that. So like Kyler Murray, I'd love to see him keep his eyes down the field a little more. Giants, Cowboys here. I'm going to put a name right here that should be on our radar, especially because Deron Bland got a bit of a foot issue. I don't think he's going to play, but Trayvon Diggs is not ramped up. He didn't even play half the snaps last week. And Russell Wilson, if he does not get the ball to Malik Neighbors in a big way this week, he's going to lose his job. So that's a guy I do want to consider if you're cool with that.
Yeah, you don't have to twist my arm to put Malik Neighbors in a lineup, especially on a game where I think the game flow is going to be advantageous. We saw a lot of games last year where New York trailed and they would just keep targeting Neighbors. He's due for a 15 target game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they could be one of those. On the Cowboys side, Lamb.
Lamb easily. Lamb. You could kind of convince me into being contrarian, and this could be a George Pickens game. He had the air yards, but I feel like it's a little bit longer bet. Lamb is just completely locked in, and had those two big drops in the fourth quarter on the final drive, where those probably are plays that CeeDee Lamb makes most of the time. And I think this could be he's at home. This could be a 25-point win game for him.
Let me get your quick take on this debate. Were those good throws or hospital balls to Ferguson and Lamb across the middle?
I think like when we're in the fourth quarter. I mean, what are we supposed to do on that final drive? He's got to put it in a position where they can catch the ball. You can't necessarily think about that sort of thing. I thought they were all catchable passes, and yeah, I mean, make a play on the ball, especially it's
Ferguson should have caught that.
Ferguson should have caught it, and I think Lamb should have had at least one of them.
Lamb kind of pushed one like this.
Yeah.
That one across the middle. So the diving one, that's not on Lamb, and that's not on Dak either. I just think that ball, that was a play that could have been made, didn't get made. I'm not calling it a drop. I'm not calling it a bad throw. That's just a whatever. You know what I mean? Two guys tried to do a full court alley-oop, and sometimes it's the back rim, But like the other two, I thought, it's like in that part, if that was, you're actually tremendous point. If that was the first quarter, then you say, okay, you're putting your guy at risk here for no reason. In the fourth quarter, you gotta just try whatever you're gonna try, and hopefully the guy makes a play.
So, yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Next, we've got a question. Hendy or ETN in the flex for this week? So
I go ETN, Coop. ETN, the usage was fantastic, and also that game is going to fly over. I think Jackson. I mean, we're about to talk about it, but it's a great segue by you, Coop.
They traded the other guy. Yeah. I mean, the chat, we've been doing this for so long that for the most part, they're pretty good about holding questions until we get to the game. Brendan, whether you did that or not, gold star. Okay. So Jaguars here, Bengals, 49.5 point over under. And I'll tell you, this is another one of those ones where Vegas will either like or dislike teams that we like. They like the Dolphins. They do not like the Bengals this year. They didn't like the Bengals last week, and the Bengals didn't cover. They clearly don't. I mean, in our minds, Bengals Jaguars is a Bengals auto win. They're saying 3.5. So, and this is at home. Vegas doesn't like the Bengals, and that makes me a little scared. That makes me scared because if Vegas is putting the line there, knowing that we're all going to bet on the Bengals, what do they know? What do they know, Theo?
Well, for me, I think you could go a number of ways. I think this is going to be a highly exposed game in DFS and also in a contest like this, where I think you start thinking about everyone's going to play Jamar Chase coming off the dud. Everybody might play Chase Brown as a home favorite that's implied to score this many points, implied to score 27 points. But I think that you could hedge it and you could just go Joe Burrow. This feels like a Joe Burrow game where he might have 4 touchdown passes.
Oh, see that's the kind of thinking. That's the highest level of military thinking right there. Because if somebody out there gets cute and starts Higgins and he outplays Chase, we might beat that guy still.
This also opens you up to Derrick Henry instead of using Lamar. It opens you up to potentially a James Cook instead of using a Josh Allen. So I think Joe Burrow is going to be lightly rostered. BTJ, you don't even need to talk to me about that one. BTJ has to. And we talked about the post-game conference. Liam Cohen talked about just how it should have been a big BTJ game. He was sort of throwing Trevor Lawrence under the bus a little bit there. Obviously they were very happy to win that game, but BTJ could have had a really big one. He sort of salvaged not really even salvaged his week. He still was a low scoring week, but he had the touchdown on the manufactured rushing attempt, but not, this is, I think it could be a BTJ game. It has to be a BTJ game. And it doesn't feel like Travis Hunter's ready. Brenton Strange and a tight end premium could be a really, really fun one. And I think some people are going to be playing ETN this week too.
Yeah, I mean, ETN definitely going to be a popular play. And I think over on some of the sites that have the salaries and all that, we might do that. We're playing over on FFPC. So if you're just joining us now, here's what we're doing. We're pulling all the top plays from these games to build an FFPC weekly lineup. And basically what you do is you go in, you got your quarterback, you got your 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 4 flexes. It's tight end premium. And here's the rub. There's no draft, right? There's no draft. There's no salary. You can use anyone you want as long as you don't have 2 players from the same team. And right now, if you use promo code ALARM, let me just put that right over your face, Theo. This is how we treat our guests here. Right there, QR code right over Theo's face. They'll give you $25 if you deposit $35 or more. I know the promo code alarm is active. I don't know if that one coop is still active, but plug in alarm first. If that doesn't work, hit me up. But they'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more if you've never played. This format's awesome. Wait till you see the lineup that Theo and I put together. It is going to be gangbusters. So make sure you're set up over at FFPC. I love playing over there. And the thing about FFPC that is just different than other sites is that when you win big contests, right? And this one, there's different levels. We're doing a $35 contest. You can pick to play against 10 people, against 30 people, or against 100 people. We're going to go against 30. I think we got a good shot this week. But like if you win a FFPC main event or the Big Gorilla or something, that means something, right? When you win your hometown league, who cares? If you win the Big Gorilla, put that in your Twitter bio. Like people are clicking around, seeing your takes. That you get respect, right, Theo? Like if you're an
100%.
This is like the World Series of poker. Like it's like, yeah, you can play, a local poker game, but if you win a bracelet, and that's what FFPC is, it's like the big dog. This is where the big dogs play.
I was down in Vegas for the FFPC drafts. I go every year. It's awesome. And yeah, like you said, it's if you can scale up a lot of their contests, the win is you get these entries to like very high level contests. It's fantastic. I mean, Coop, we've done pretty well in some of these postseason ones, and we've recouped it into like higher stakes entries. So
keep rolling them. Yeah.
That's right. You keep rolling. Never cash out. You never cash out,
dude. Yeah. So like that's what we do in this way. Like if you come in first in this one, then you get I think there's no option to like convert it because I think you win a couple $100. If you come in second though, you can, instead of getting $100, you can turn it into a $125 best ball main event entry, and that's what we almost always do, and just run it back in because I mean it's just too much fun. Last Friday we did a Big Gorilla live on Friday after the Thursday game, which was cool. But this week we're in the weekly contest, and that's what we're doing. So next game here, Broncos Colts 43-point over under. Broncos favored by 2.5. Colts look good this week, though. They look good with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I want to cram Tyler Warren in. I think because you can't go with Michael Pittman.
This is the move.
I think Tyler Warren, and I think Tyler Warren no matter what. You could twist my arm into Jonathan Taylor, but I want to go Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren, it's a game where they're going to feature him, jack of all trades. Maybe we see him get an extra rush attempt or two just as a wrinkle. Taylor's fine. I mean, if you want to go Taylor, I think Taylor's fine. I think he'll be up there with Warren as sort of the chalk Colt, especially with them being at home. And then for Denver's interesting because they're a difficult one to play with because they have so many guys. I think this is a fun one to try to predict. You could go Dobbins, you could go Harvey if you're there. They talked a little bit about getting him a little more work this week. You could also go Bo Nix because Bo Nix is going to be almost no one rostering him in this one, but it's an indoor game. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road. They're going to have to move the ball. And Bo Nix also might give you something with his legs. So it's sort of a contrarian play to use Bo Nix this week. You could also go with the Denver Broncos defense, which is an absolute unit. And Daniel Jones was just fantastic last week, but this is the real test for Indianapolis. I think the Broncos might have the best defense in football.
Yeah, they look great, man. And I will say, with the Broncos weapons, the real problem you run into is that Courtland Sutton. So last year, Courtland Sutton played a full-time role, and no one else on the year played more than 53% of snaps. This week, Courtland Sutton played 95% of snaps, and the next highest guy played 53%. They love rolling him around. Troy Franklin played more than Marvin Mims. So it's like, it's Sutton if you're going to, and I don't know if we're going to have too many good wide receivers to even use Sutton.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But I think we put his name on here.
Put his name on there as a consideration.
To ward off evil spirits.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's why we put Jonathan Taylor's name on there. We're not going to use Taylor, but if you don't put his name on the sheet, he comes back to haunt you. And that's a scary premonition. So we got to make sure to pay our respects to some of these guys, right?
Absolutely.
We got a question I'm not going to answer because it is a play against me by our guy Icy Through. This is a full PPR league. He wants to know Adunze, Tracy, or Judy.
I'm going Jerry Jeudy in this one. Jerry Judy's popping off. He's talking trash. We know Jerry Jeudy refuses to lateral with the game on the line to get the yardage. And Jerry Jeudy in this one, they're like a double-digit underdogs. I think that they're going to eat garbage, and I think that Jerry Jeudy is going to end up with 10 targets. It's harder to predict the usage for the Chicago wide receivers, and I think that it's hard to bet on Tyrone Tracy against Dallas. I think Dallas is going to control that game. So I will go Jerry Jeudy in this one. I know there's a lot of people who it's a lot of Cedric Tillman over Jeudy takes out there. I actually think this will be a Jeudy game. So I'll go Jeudy.
Did you see what the NBA is doing with the last second shots? Dude?
No, tell me.
New rule in the NBA that if you shoot a shot from beyond half court at the end of any of the quarters, it does not count against your shooting percentage, because they figured out that guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron were never shooting them. Dude, CJ McCollum, because I used to play a bunch of fantasy basketball, he used to do the funniest thing. He would get the ball with like 2 seconds left, and he would just do like the slowest shot ever to make sure that the buzzer went off before it left his hands to not hurt his numbers. Like, funniest thing. So Jerry Jeudy needs that role. Jerry Jeudy needs to have those like flippy plays not count as fumbles against you, right?
That's the way to do it. Love that rule by the NBA too. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is more fun, dude. It's like, stop being so selfish. Like, huck it up. Everyone wants to see it, right? Nobody wants to see you. I know it's a low percentage play, but it used to be a great litmus test, in my opinion. That was like, who cares more about their stats? Who cares more about their team? If you give me a 0.005% chance of helping fantasy alarm, I'm shooting. You know what I mean? There's no downside. But these guys are padding their stats. Loser move, loser mentality. But now the league's bailing them out. So there you go. One more question, and we'll jump back in. GT Sports wants to know: pick 2. Sutton, Egbuka, JMO Coleman, Hollywood, Jeudy. So there's some hot names in there. A couple guys that definitely that could have more value right now than they do at any point in the season in Egbuka and Hollywood. So where are you going there?
This is a really, really tough one. I'll say that I think Hollywood Brown, even though he's the one that we were drafting the lowest in ADP in the preseason, is probably the safest for this week. We saw how many targets he had. There's a lack of target competition around him, and KC's got their work cut out for them with Philadelphia. The other one is sort of, you could twist my arm into a number of them. I think this could be a Tetaroa McMillan breakout. Egbuka on a heater, even though it's a very, very difficult matchup. Cortland Sutton, if you want to play it completely safe,
right?
I think Cortland Sutton would probably be the safe one. So if I'm going like safe, I'm probably going Sutton and Hollywood Brown. But I think you can make a viable argument for Jamison Williams, for Emeka Egbuka. If you wanted to swing for the fences, I think Egbuka probably has the highest upside.
I'm going Hollywood and Egbuka. You got all these guys on your team. It's probably a shallow league if you have that many guys on your bench. Play the highest upside plays. So I'm going Egbuka and Hollywood. And you know what else I'm doing, GT? I'm firing out right now 2-for-1 trades. Just send a bunch of them, trying to turn 2 of these guys into a stud, because this isn't the first time you're going to run into a nightmare decision, right?
Yeah, all season long, he's going to run into nightmare.
3 for 2s, 2-for-1s, man. Get those going, because if you got all those guys on your bench, there's probably good guys on the wire too. So try and do a lopsided 2-for-1 type trade, and because people are fired up about Egbuka, Coleman, all these guys. Like, if you could take 2 of those guys and turn them into, like, Puka Nacua or Bryant or Garrett Collins, Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr. just had bad weeks. Like, try and do a 2-for-1, brother. And flex Tracy or Quentin Johnston.
That's a tough one. Quentin Johnston actually has 10 touchdowns his last 16 games played, and they seem to de-emphasize targeting the tight ends and the running backs last week. Does that change against Vegas this week? Tracy's probably the safer play. It's kind of your risk tolerance. I think if we're going by touches, Coop, I think Tracy's definitely going to touch the ball more. But if I was in a situation where I was an underdog or I wanted to swing for the fences with upside, I'm going Quentin Johnston in this one.
Right. That's exactly how to play it. I'll probably starting Tracy, but like, if you're looking at your lineup, because that happens. I have teams right now where, like, I lost. I have a team where I drafted Rashee Rice. I lost George Kittle. I drafted Kenneth Walker, who is like brutal right now. Like, in that league, I'm starting Quentin Johnston because I need help. I need upside. Like, if you're the favorite, or if it's even, maybe just start Tracy. Let's jump back in here. We got the Panthers and Cardinals here. Cardinals big time favorites, 7-point favorites, 44.5. So we're gonna have to have a Cardinal. There's definitely names that are appealing.
I think Trey McBride would be the heavily chalk, but it's probably like that good chalk that you want to have in your lineup. He's probably the tight end 1 this week.
This is FFPC with a tight end spot in 4 flexes, and it's tight end premium. So starting McBride does not stop us from starting another tight end.
Yeah, McBride might give you 30 points this week in tight end premium scoring. I think he's going to get north of 20 points in tight end premium. I'd say the contrarian play would be going Marvin Harrison Jr. or Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is actually in a very good spot this week. Carolina looked sort of hapless last week, and Murray would give us sort of a low rostered player, sort of the argument for Bo Nix. But I think we don't even need to talk about it because I think we're going to eventually come to the fact that we have to get Trey McBride in our lineup.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so too. It's going to be, and we want to start Burrow. I think we're leaning that way. So you can only start one quarterback in this. So I think that's the way to go. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. We saw one good news for MHJ is that Kyler did at least attempt to get through his read progressions a little more last week, which that was a big emphasis this offseason. The problem for him is that he was just running or dumping it down per fantasy points where Theo works. He was not, everyone knows him as a scrambler. He was also a top 3 quarterback in getting the ball out of his hands in under 2 seconds. And when you have Trey McBride, it makes a lot of sense. But they want him to kind of play it straight with some of these and see if guys can get open at the next level. So we'll see on that. But yeah, those are the 3 guys there. I mean, James Conner. Yeah, we're gonna have too many. I think we're gonna have too many good RBs to get Conner in there.
Yeah, you could throw him in there if you want to just consider him, but we're already going McBride, so we're kind of twisting our arms here.
Yeah.
Carolina, I would, if you wanted to force in a Teteroa McMillan breakout, I think the usage is there for him, and I think that it's going to be a decent game for him. But there's no reason for us to play a Panther.
Yeah. So he doesn't like being called Tet.
No, he likes Teteroa.
Or he likes being, or maybe he said that his mom actually spoke for him and was like, I named him Teteroa, so don't call him Tet. But then he's got another nickname. He's got 2 more nicknames, T-Mac, and then what's the other one? There's another one.
I always call him T-Mac. I've been trying to get away from the Tet.
I think T-Mac should be the way to go. But he's got this other nickname that he goes by that is like it's nothing like his name at all. I'll have to pull it up.
It's Nalo.
Nalo, that's it. Yes, Nalo.
It's a Hawaiian thing.
Kind of cool, dude.
But I think you got to be from Hawaii to use it.
You got to be from Hawaii. You have to know him personally.
It's like stolen Hawaii valor if we start calling him Nalo.
Yeah, if I was like an Arizona State fan, though, I would definitely.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of connection there.
Yeah. So we'll call him T-Mac then for now. Okay, next one here, Eagles Chiefs. This is the big one, the big dog. 46.5 point over under. As you can see, the implied point total is not super high here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these teams can't get to high numbers. So, what side do you want to start with?
Yeah, I mean, it's Hurts, it's Barkley, and then because of the
point in the chat, I'm going to put the Cards defense on the sheet just because.
Cards defense absolutely gets the respect, and if you're in a league right now and the Cards are available, take a look at their schedule over the next month. The Cardinals might be a set it and forget it defense for you for like the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, easily. So there you go. Get them up and in there. I was drafting a ton of them specifically because of the schedule. And Jonathan Gannon actually had an offseason where he got a chance to go out and get his guys. Like they've been building this offense for years, and they finally said, you know what, Jonathan, go out and start building this defense. So you love to see that. So hey, could be the year for the Cards. We'll see if Kyler can keep it together.
And Will Johnson looks like, they had the injury discount. He's going to be a keeper. There's multiple players they drafted that are contributing. So Arizona's in a really good spot.
Good spot. Eagles Chiefs. What side do you want to start on?
I mean, it's a game I think we're going to get exposure to both ways. I think it's going to be a close game. I'll throw Patrick Mahomes in there. I think they're leaning on him. It's a difficult one, but we'll throw Mahomes in there. We talked about Hollywood Brown as a real possibility. I'd like to stay away from the running backs. I'd like to stay away from Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I think he looked pretty dusty. So it's Mahomes or Hollywood if we use a Chief. Eagles wise, it's Hurts, it's Barkley, and then I think it's a Devonta Smith sneaky squeaky wheel where we saw AJ Brown sort of running a low miles per hour. He looked a little hobbled. Now Dallas Goedert's banged up. I think they could lean on Devonta Smith in big situations, and I think Smith is going to be. It's so many teams are going to have Hurts or Barkley that if you use Devonta Smith, it's a low roster player.
Game.
Yeah, I think
that we got to have at least one of those. I like to have at least one of those because, like,
Smith, man. Let's go Smith.
If you put in one kind of contrarian play like a Smith, and then your other way of being contrarian is like maybe just starting 2 tight ends. Like if you just get different enough, but you still want the chalk. You want the chalk of the chalk, but if you just have that one little that little twist, that can mean all the difference between winning or coming in second. Especially with these later games, because we can actually change our lineup as it goes. That's something I like doing. As I look at it, and it's like, okay, if we get to that game and we're way behind, we'll have Smith in there. But like, if we're front runners, maybe when we get to Sunday night, we just say, hey, you know what? Let's play a little defense and put Barkley in there. So you never know. I do like to kind of tinker like that at the end on these 2 Monday night games, and they are part of this contest. So Falcons, Vikings favored here, and the not only are they favored, but I saw something like nearly 80% of the money is coming in on the Viking side. People, a lot of people watch these standalone games, and they watched the primetime JJ McCarthy game, and then now they're believers, it seems.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on McCarthy this week. I've seen people already with him in their lineups this week. Sort of the light bulb went off in the fourth quarter, and they think it's going to continue against Atlanta. I think this is a chalk game, and I think you talked about how we can get weird with other picks. I think it's use Bijan Robinson and use Justin Jefferson, and those are your 2 picks for this game. You don't have to get cute. You don't have to go Kyle Pitts. If Drake London was fully healthy, I think we'd talk about him. If we had a little more clarity as to the game flow, this could be a big Jordan Mason breakout. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Jordan Mason fell in the end zone 2 times this game. But I think, like you said, we're going to get a little different. We're going to use Devonta Smith. And if we use Bijan and Justin Jefferson, we cover 2 sides of a game that could go over, the game that should be very fantasy friendly, and 2 players who might be the best at their position in the league.
Yeah, I hate the splits like the Vikings backfield right now. I like when it makes sense. I like when the split is like, okay, this is our big goon and he runs on first down, and this is our pass catcher and he plays on pass downs. They split it right down the middle, man.
100%.
That was very strange. The Aaron Jones played the first 2 drives, and then Mason got the whole next 3rd drive, but then Mason played a little more in the second half. I think things are definitely trending his direction, but for something like this, I don't want trending. I want to know, right? So there's not a huge benefit to like trying to guess which week it's going to happen in something like this. You would just want it to already happen and then kind of be there, because like, I don't know how much, I don't know if Jordan Mason is going to even outscore Jefferson, even if he does get a bigger workload. So I definitely am glad I have Mason where I have him in my real league. So, but
yeah,
for this,
no, for sure. I mean, my Mason bags are heavy. And I think he looked like the better back. I think Aaron Jones, the narrative would have been more Mason's strong second half, but then Aaron Jones caught the touchdown pass. So, you can't bank on those. That was a really nice play by him. Great pass by McCarthy, but I think it's trending towards the younger player in Mason.
Yep, for sure. One more question here before we get to the last game, and then we'll make our lineup. For those that just joined us or joining us late, FFPC weekly lineup. That's what we're doing. So we're going through and we're pulling all the top guys, the top plays, and we're putting them in this little chart so that we can reference it and make an FFPC lineup. Over on FFPC, what you can do is there's no draft, there's no salary, there's none of that. You just make a lineup with all the top players. The only rule is you can't use 2 players from the same team, which I love that, because you don't have to worry about getting killed by some stack. You know what I mean? Like, someone starts Burrow and Chase, and if you don't have both of them, then you just lose. You can't do that over there. You can only pick one guy from each team. If you want to get set up over there, hit this QR code that's conveniently over the lovely face of Theo right now, and you can get set up, or use promo code alarm at myffpc.com. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. So we're going to show you what that looks like right after we hit this last game here. Buccaneers. Oh, wait, let's hit that question. Sorry, Kyle. Pickens, Troy Franklin, 3rd for AJ Brown in a 6th. Rate the trade. Or just what side would you rather be on? That's the easiest way to rate a trade.
I think I'm still on the AJ Brown side. I think I would squeeze a little bit more out, even if this is their triflex, where triflex, the 3rd rounders are a little more valuable. If it's a single QB league, I would think that this would definitely be AJ Brown. If it's triflex, it's a little bit more room to run. I think it's Trey Franklin. I don't know how much long-term stability he's going to have as an asset. FFPC, you have the roster cut down days for Dynasty. So I like going with the most premium asset, and that's AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown, you get a little more for this. I would ask for either a 2nd and a 3rd with Pickens is a little bit more of a hedge. There's some managers who might pay you like Pickens and a 1st for AJ and like a 2nd, or maybe get a 1st and a 3rd. I would squeeze out more than this if I'm going to look to tier down from AJ Brown.
Yeah, exactly. 6th round pick is literally a nothing to me.
It's nothing.
And in some of my leagues, 3rd round. I mean, the hit rate on 3rd round picks are pretty bad.
Yeah,
I have a league. I have a league where I had a 4th round pick, and I just waived it. I was like, "Does anyone want this pick?" And no one said.
Come on, Coop. Come on, Coop. You got to make your pick.
No, I would have had to cut somebody, and I didn't want to cut. Like I would have had to cut like who was it? Dude, it was. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at.
That's where you trade your 2025 4th for any random 2026 4th, and you just bank it.
No, I just flexed on everybody. I was like, cut it. This league, I've done some crazy things. Like this kid was talking mad trash to me last year, and I was like, how about this trade? I'll trade you my 2nd round pick for your 2nd round pick straight up. And then whoever's better, the pick becomes more valuable. And then I mopped that kid. And then I had his pick, which was like the 4th pick in the 2nd round, and my pick was 2nd to last. I didn't win the league. So
I know a guy who, if he really, really disrespects the manager and the guy's maybe been a little disrespectful, he'll offer him his 1st and his 3rd for the opposing manager's 1st, like the biggest flex you've ever seen.
Now that's even bigger flex.
And it's even more insulting if the guy turns it down, knowing that your team is just this powerhouse, and you're giving up like the 102 for like his 110.
I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that. That's ultimate trash talk.
It's incredible trash talk.
All right, I actually put Buccaneers Vikings here.
Buccaneers Texans, Coop.
That's right.
So Texans, I think you could go Nico Collins. You could go Kaimi Fairbairn if we want to go with the kicker. Very, very good kicker at home. And then for Buccaneers, I like Bucky Irving's usage. And I see a lot of people projecting him to not finish that highly in the running backs. Like he's a low-end RB1, but it wouldn't shock me if Bucky Irving in this game caught a bunch of passes, had a rushing score, and finished as like a top 5 running back this week. So Bucky would be my lean for Tampa Bay. I like Emeka Egbuka. It's just a difficult game for him.
Everybody's going to have Egbuka. I'm going to put him in there, but the Texans secondary is it's pretty good.
Very good.
Very good.
Texans defense is an absolute unit. So they're home favorites in this one. They should have beat LA on the road. I mean, you hold LA to that sort of point total, you think you'd be able to get it done. CJ Stroud just doesn't put up fantasy points ever anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I'll tell you right now, dude, they ran Bobby Slowick out of town, but Bobby Slowick's offense with the fullback and everything that he was doing that first year, CJ Stroud looked real good.
Yeah.
Real good. And they told him, get rid of your stupid fullback and we're going to use 3 wide receivers. And then he had to change his whole offense. And then when it was bad, they fired Bobby Slowick. And I think that was injustice.
Yeah, it's CJ Stroud has 1 QB1 finish in his last 14 games played, Coop.
Stinks. Okay, let's go through here and let's highlight some players we're definitely going to use. And then that way we can jump over. And,
okay, so go with your Neighbors pick. You have conviction on him.
Okay, yeah.
We're locking in Neighbors.
Let's lock Neighbors in. What the heck? Okay, let's do that. And we're gonna use McBride.
We're gonna use McBride 100%. Lock him in.
Okay. Now, is there somebody you definitely want to lock in from this puppy?
I like Devon Achane.
Okay, that's great.
I think Devon Achane is
that might not be a guy that's rostered in a lot of leagues. Actually, you know what? That moves like that alone could be different enough that we could just use chalk the rest of the way. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. I think we're already sort of diverse enough. Do we want to go with the Devonta Smith one to hedge against a lot of Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley exposure?
We might not even have to.
Okay, so let's go through it. Well, do we want to go with Jefferson Bijan and go chalk in a game that might go over and at least should have condensed touches for top-notch players?
Yeah, we do. So
okay,
we're going to
go with Jefferson bang.
Bijan. Okay, and then are we doing Burrow? Because that really helps us. That crosses all these guys off the board. Man.
So if you want to go Josh Allen and then just go with a chalky Jamar Chase as a squeaky wheel who came off of nothing last week and now has a game where Jacksonville, I think that's a game that might really fly over. It's the highest total on the board, I believe.
Right.
So if you want to go Josh Allen.
This implied 27 points here makes me feel like we got to have a bit.
Josh Allen's on a heater, too. He's on an absolute heater.
Let's go with Josh Allen, dude.
So we're going Josh Allen.
Okay, let's plug some of these in to see what it looks like to start.
Sure.
So here we go. Again, FFPC weekly lineup, no draft, no salaries, The only rule is you can't start 2 players from the same team. It's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, 4 flexes, tight end. I went with the one with the kickers and defense. There's a slim version that doesn't have those, but I kind of like throwing them in there when it's like a big slate and there's no bye weeks. So if you want to get set up over there, again, use promo code ALARM at myffpc.com. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more if it's your first time depositing. So let's get Josh Allen in. And let me go back to the sheet. Achane, Neighbors, McBride, Bijan.
Yeah, and Jefferson.
Bijan. And we're going to want to move. I think we're going to want to move. I'll do it after the show, but I like to move the later playing guys into the flexes just because you can change them up until their game starts. So I always like to have that option available. I've been run into some trouble not doing that. So I will make sure we do that. But for now, let's just do it this way. Neighbors, HN. Okay. Neighbors. Okay. So, I mean, that's the meat of our lineup here, and we only have flexes left.
Well, let's pick our
Did we do that on purpose because we're professionals?
It's clean. Let's pick our kicker. So you want to go Chris Boswell or Kaimi Fairbairn were the 2 kickers we circled.
Let me just accidentally click ESPN real quick.
If we're not going to use Nico Collins,
let's use Bos, dude.
Let's use Boswell. Okay, so we get Boswell. We have exposure to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gives us the option of Collins.
Yeah, it's a one point difference in.
Now, do we go Lamb and just have a little bit of Lamb versus Neighbors action head to head?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so we'll go Lamb.
We need chalky. Yeah, we do. There's no problem with going super chalk and something like this.
So we did feel both feel an inclination to go with Tyler Warren though, who's going to be chalky but not like full chalk.
If you go too tight end in this. So dude, the thing about Tyler Warren is that there's a real possibility that the Broncos defense could be a tough matchup for tight ends. I mean,
we don't have a reference point though because they haven't gone up against a guy like Tyler Warren.
Dude, Chigakonkwo, bro.
I know I'm not disrespecting Chig.
They had to hold Chigakonkwo in on like 15% of his pass plays because they couldn't handle the pass rush, but that might not be a problem for the Colts.
Colts line's pretty good, and they're at home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's scroll. We got to have
I do think Devonta Smith though. I think we have a little conviction on this one. If you want to go Devonta, we could just go Saquon Barkley though, if you want.
Well, we can always switch to Barkley. Like if we're way out, if we're doing really well, if we're in first, that when that game's coming around, that game's at 4:00. I thought that was a night game.
Yeah.
If we're in for let's run it. Let's run that.
Sure, we'll run Devonta.
That's all we need to be different. So we could just now.
Now you go with the Baltimore Raven here. Do you want to put in the big dog as an 11.5 point favorite at home? You eat the chalk.
We do. The thing with Derrick Henry is they lean so heavily on him because they rotate in Justice Hill for pass downs. Last year, Derrick Henry in games in the fourth quarter alone, Theo, in games where they were up by 2 scores. So the game like up by 9 or more, Derrick Henry scored an additional 40 PPR points just in those situations. They used him to hammer the nail in these coffins last year. So this whole idea of like, oh, maybe if they go up, they'll pull him. Unless they're up by by 21 points, they just keep going to Henry over and over. Also, inside the 5-yard line last year, Theo, there were 18 rushes for the team. Guess how many Henry got and guess how many Lamar got?
You tell me.
Henry got 18 of them, and Lamar took 0. So
there you go.
He's just a big dog. So one would not. So here's the thing. Now we got one more player. And we got options here. Like
this is if you want to go full chalk, you just go Jamar Chase because we didn't use a Bengal yet.
I think we can do that because we've set this up.
Devonta Smith makes it diverse enough.
And Achane, I'm telling you right now, in something like this where Christian McCaffrey is just sitting there right here, like look at Jameer.
So we could go Gibbs or we could go Chase and have our chalky chalk.
Oh man,
it's conviction here. I will say, if you want to go with the point total, Jamar Chase coming off of a complete 0 dud, I think his point total will be higher than Jahmyr Gibbs's.
We use fade the Lions.
We're fading Detroit. Now
Detroit,
we could take out yeah, we could go Detroit defense and we'll say it's a Caleb Williams struggles type game. Or we could go with the Houston Texans defense at home, one that we really like.
I don't like playing them against the Bucks though, because we could use the Broncos. Wait, no, not the Broncos. We don't want Broncos. We could use what was the other defense? Ravens. We don't want to do that.
Ravens defense would be a really good one. If you want to go Ravens
defense, you know what our narrative could be on the Lions defense is they're going up against Ben Johnson. They know what he likes to do.
Yeah, he's going to have some nice wrinkles though. You know that. But I think Detroit. Yeah, I think it's more of a. We saw Chicago. They had an opportunity to win. Now this probably turns into 2 losses for them. It's a new head coach, potentially start reeling. The other hedge you could do is it's the chalkiest guy out there is probably going to be Derrick Henry with 11.5 point win. So you could go Baltimore defense and you could just go with Jamar Chase here.
Let's do that. I just said so many good things about Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's fantastic, but he also is coming off of an unbelievable game. This could easily be Lamar breaks off 2 long runs. Henry doesn't get his opportunities. And the Ravens defense looks very good this week. Yeah. And then this kind of gets us Jamar Chase. And it makes us it makes us even less chalky, I think.
Flacco's due for some screw ups here.
Yeah, it's just the game flow. It's a really, really tough one. Really tough one for Cleveland. Cleveland had that game last week too.
Am I crazy? Where is the I don't see him.
Because that's weird. Is it BAL?
It should be BLT. That's the official. No, it's BAL.
Yeah, BAL. And then Chase.
All right. Yeah. I mean, folks, this is what we're talking about here. He's already in there.
Oh, you already have Chase in there.
Where?
Where? We don't have him in there.
Do I have? I put Chase Brown in there by accident.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, who are we missing then?
Then you're missing a potential. Then you go with the Lion here, and you go Laporta or you go Gibbs.
So that's what I did. I accidentally put Chase Brown in the lineup. That's why I was like, dude, we planned this out. We should have we planned this out. We should have one more spot for a star. Okay, so we go Gibbs now.
Yeah, go Gibbs.
Okay, good. Now I feel better.
There you go.
Everything's lining up. Okay, so see how stupid we are? If you want to beat us in this contest, you can go join it. Here, I'll even give you the number. 10-100502. Our team name is Free Arroyo, by the way.
Oh, man. I'm feeling bad about that one.
Let the kid play, dude. AJ Barner's he's a chunkster. So look at this lineup, though, dude. You can, this is within the rules. This lineup we built. Josh Allen, Devon Achane, Bijan Robinson, Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Trey McBride, Chris Boswell, the weapon, and the Ravens defense as 11-point favorites against the Browns. This lineup is legit. It's eligible. And it also has just enough difference from the pure chalk with guys like Devonta Smith and Devon Achane that we could easily steamroll. How cool are these, folks? If you want to play over there, go get set up at my FFPC. Use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. But that's it. That's the lineup for today, man. So Theo, you know what, dude? That's why I always have you on first, because you and I, we've done a ton of shows. We know the flow here. We got through a full game script, exactly an hour. Lineups in, man. How you feeling, dude?
I mean, I'm feeling great. It's a lot of fun putting these things together. I think the Devonta Smith one is the one that's going to give us a little bit of variance against the field. A lot of them are chalky, but hey, sometimes you got to have the appropriate chalk. I think Trey McBride, you want to make sure you play him this week. And Josh Allen, guy's on a heater. So hard to sit him. A lot of fun always chopping it up with you, though, Coop. Thanks for having me on, man.
The best, man. We got to do a lot more this year. I always have you on first. The other reason I have you on first is we're going to do the playoff challenge again.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So we'll circle you back. Let me know what you guys are doing over there. So thank you guys for tuning in. For me, I will be on again tonight on SiriusXM channel 87, 6 to 8 p.m. And then on Sunday, we have 2 shows. One on SiriusXM, 10 o'clock. One on YouTube at 11. We'll get all your start sits in. Everybody out there watching, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys so much for joining in. But that's going to do it.